Hello there. In today's video, I would like to advocate for a specific type of historical practice, namely taking a holistic approach, let's say. Now, what do I mean by that? So one of the things that historians like doing is they like coming up with theories to explain bits and pieces of history. So what I mean by a holistic approach is, rather than simply looking at the surrounding context for your theory, what I advocate is that you look at other contexts. So let me give you an example. I recently watched a video by a fellow called Brandon F. He's like a red coat reenactor, something like that. Now he made a video talking about why the musket is superior to the English longbow. And for the most part, I agree with him. He's pretty much right on every count. I think he missed the most important reason for the musket's superiority. So he went into all of these logistical reasons, all of the guff associated with war, right? The time to train a soldier, the time to mass produce and equip, the time to provide ammunition, that sort of thing. Now, the reason I think he missed the most important point is because the same sort of thing happened over here. First Nations people adopted the gun as quickly as possible, right? If you look at the situation over here, none of those reasons that Brandon F. posits hold true, right? We don't have the same state-sponsored military, right? Everybody fought as individuals, so none of the logistics hold true, right? And the training time, that doesn't hold true either, because everybody here already knew how to shoot a bow, because everybody hunted, right? And everybody continued to know how to shoot a bow even after the introduction of guns, because if all you're doing is hunting squirrels and rabbits or whatever, you don't want to waste bullets on those, right? So everybody continued to know how to use a bow.
A bow and arrow doesn't cost me anything to make, whereas a musket and ammunition has to be purchased, and from a monopoly no less.
So logistics simply do not hold true, which means that the reason for the introduction of the gun over here was different from those posited by Mr. Brandon F. So my own theory on that matter is that the gun is just a heck of a lot more lethal and a heck of a lot scarier than the bow, right? Now I think that reason is more important than all of the reasons that he put forward in his video, right? So I suppose what I'm proposing is sort of like a logical test, or like I don't know, like one of those razors or whatever. If you think you got a good theory about some element of material culture or whatever, try and test it against some other culture where the same sort of thing happened, right? So another example is, so this was from a while ago. A YouTuber called I Am Shad produced a video about leather armor where he said that he listed a number of reasons why it didn't exist. Now, one of the things he put forward was lack of surviving examples. Now, this one really bugged me, right? Because I've already put out a video on this sort of thing, but leather does not survive. So if we look at like pre-Columbian Iroquoian clothing, nearly 100% of this would have been leather, with the exception of a couple of cloaks, right? Now, that's a lot of clothing throughout a lot of history, but we don't have any examples of it surviving. Okay? So is it really surprising at all that medieval leather armor didn't survive? Right? It's bad logic.
To apply this same argument over here is to say that pre-Columbian Iroquois did not wear clothing even in winter, which is absurd. Therefore, the argument itself is faulty.
Another thing on that sort of subject, so reading some forum poster or whatever, and they're talking about wooden armor. Somebody's saying, why didn't medieval peasants ever use wooden armor? And then everybody starts making up these theories, and wood simply isn't strong enough to use for armor. Wood splits, right? Wood would make lousy armor. It would be far too heavy to move in properly. Far too bulky, this, that, and the other. They make up all of these theories. And what they neglect to say, or neglect to think about, is that people did use wooden armor, right? So either you know better than people who actually used this wooden armor back in history, or you don't know what you're talking about, right? They were unfamiliar with, say, the Haida wooden armor, so they didn't think to apply it. But that's what I'm talking about. Before you ask, why didn't medieval peasants use wooden armor, you might ask, did anybody use wooden armor? Right? That sort of thing. And then you'd learn that actually, yeah, it can work, which means you have to ask yourself again, why didn't medieval peasants use wooden armor?
As opposed to simply dismissing the question.
Now, I'm sure you can think of a lot more ways to apply this sort of thing. Those are the ones off the top of my head. So, thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting. It was just something that was annoying me and I wanted to get off my chest. All right. Bye-bye.